we're going to be doing like a kind of a deep dive into screencasting and sort of like the different nuances in there, because people have a perception in their mind what is screencasting. So we want to sort of like demystify what screencasting is and help people understand to position it in amongst other tools and technologies that they use. What is screencasting? And this is a definition I got from Wikipedia, so I just want to share it. A screencast is a digital recording of computer screen output, also known as a video screen capture, often containing audio narration.
And here's the thing. I disagree with Wikipedia on their description of what screencasting is.
Okay.
So for me, screencasting is desktop video. It's the fact that we've moved from needing dedicated pieces of hardware in order to publish and create video to being able to create it all with our desktop. So now the screen can be a part of it, but it's using your computer as your production platform. What we're doing right now is a form of screencasting as far as I'm concerned. We're doing a live stream broadcast through our computers, using our computer as a switcher, as a production studio. And to me, that's what screencasting is all about. And what happens is the screen can become a character in your piece if you choose to. But if not, you can still use all of the screencasting tools to create your video as we're doing right now. But when I started to say, how can I reinvent myself in the online space? I started to play with a tool called ScreenFlow on the Mac,
right,
which is a very inexpensive but quite powerful screencasting tool or screen recording tool on the Mac. And it allows you to record, and it allows every digital asset you have to be able to be pulled together into your video. So the digital assets we have are our webcam, our microphones, any graphics or files that we can see on the computer screen, we can incorporate in the video. And at that point, that's what screencasting is. To me, it's desktop video production. And it's way easier and way more convenient to produce those videos using a tool like Camtasia or ScreenFlow than it is trying to use a tool like, a dedicated video application like Final Cut. And the reason is you have, with screencasting software, you have object control over what happens on the computer screen. So you zooming in and out, moving in and out of, zooming in and out of the screen, doing transitions, adding elements to the screen is just a far more natural process and far easier, and you have a lot more control over each step of the way of screencasting. And then you've got additional tools like being able to designate your cursor as an element. That's another asset, right? And be able to change the size of it, make it pulse radio, kind of radio buttons as you click on it, adding all those sorts of assets as well. And what it does is it becomes a phenomenal storytelling platform that allows you to create and compose video as easily as we used to kind of create word processing documents. At least that's my take on it.
You'll notice that if you look on the sales pages for these products, that they call themselves screen recorders and video editors. So it's more like an all-in-one kind of solution, and it's not, they don't label themselves screencasting in that way anymore, which I find quite interesting.
Absolutely. And at the end, and what it means is that you can compose and you can create video. Like I think that I can create a video in less time than it takes me to write a blog post.
Wow.
And it's so much more flexible and so much more valuable than a straight up written blog post, as far as I'm concerned. And then you asked about use case. If you can create good, compelling, effective video easily with fairly low barriers to entry, the places that you can start to use those video are almost endless. I use screencast video as video emails to thank people, to send personal messages to people. We use it, of course, for all the video for our YouTube channel. I use it for creating online course content. We deliver online courses, and almost all of that content is created as video. I use it to create, I use Screencast to create the main content for my webinars. Every week on Wednesday, I do a live tutorial webinar. And I pre-record 20 or 30 minutes of that video, the demo section, as a screencast, which means that I can make it tighter, I can edit it down, I can increase the information density that's delivered in that time. I'm not kind of wandering my way through it and doing a live slideshow. Instead, it's pre-recorded, packaged with nice camera moves in and out so that the menus are described so people have a higher amount of information and more learning incorporated. And I do that.
What I wanted to ask in terms of the screencasting compared to other editing experiences, when have you had need to really have to go beyond something like a Camtasia or a ScreenFlow for capabilities? Like, have you, like, if you were to say percentage wise, like I think I recall you telling me that you do occasionally use a Final Cut. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I use Final Cut more just because I want to. Like for the vlog, sometimes Final Cut works well. If you're doing B-roll, fancy video like speed ramping videos, or you're doing a lot of color correction or things like that, screencasting software is underpowered for that sort of work.
yeah,
So if you're doing artistic type video, it's not for you. But if you're doing pedestrian tutorial videos, it's perfect.
yeah.
So I do I do pretty much everything in ScreenFlow.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I always try to look at the effects that are, you know, more of the domain of something like a Final Cut Pro. Like I'll take a speed ramp concept and I'll play with a combination of clip speeds and animation points and trim a thing down and work with easing, and I can pretty much simulate a lot of those more powerful things. But sometimes it may take a lot of effort, and it may not. But I'm amazed that there's a lot of power in there with these tools, that if the people that want to go there to take it to the next level, that potential is there, which I think a lot of people kind of don't recognize that they have that kind of opportunity.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's, you know, and you can, if you know, for YouTube production, I mean, if you're going to broadcast or anything like that, you need a more professional tool. Don't get me wrong. Screencasting is for YouTube delivery or for Vimeo delivery of tutorial, training, webinar, you know, that sort of content. It's not for full on entertainment. Like I don't expect, you know, but if I was a vlogger who was out and about shooting B-roll all the time, out, you know, shooting outside, and I was always incorporating drone footage and other things, I probably wouldn't be I can say for sure I wouldn't be using ScreenFlow for that. You know, I'd be using the Adobe Suite, or I'd be using Final Cut for that sort of stuff. Right.
That makes sense. How do you suggest people go about making the decision on whether they should be starting with something like a screencasting tool, or whether they should be looking to dive into something like a Final Cut Pro or Premiere Pro? Because I find I talk to a lot of people, and they are like, you know, they may have heard of more of those, you know, the more extensively skilled technologies like the Premiere Pro and Final Cut Pros, and they really just want to get their videos done and be creative. They don't want to become a highly skilled editor. And I find it very interesting because many I know have tried, and then they end up in like Camtasia or ScreenFlow after they try, you know, and some go the other way. But like, what would you advise people on how to work through that?
I would say if you know that you're going to be an artistic video, that you're going to be doing lots of outside DSLR work and video work and drone footage and that kind of stuff, you probably are this person that should be looking at one of the higher end tools. But if you're going to be creating tutorial videos and training videos and videos that are primarily designed for YouTube, that are explainer videos or along that line, you should use one of the more accessible tools like ScreenFlow or Camtasia.
Yeah. So for things like if you're, you know, a video marketer and you want to produce a lot of stuff, I mean,
ScreenFlow,
you're fine.
Camtasia, absolutely.
You don't really need to go beyond that kind of level.
Not at all.